go. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you know who I'm with. You know who I'm with. The finest guy from South Carolina, Mr. Will Kramer. What up, Will?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, you know. Hey, it's a great day. Let me just say.
What makes it a great day? What's going on?
You know what makes it? Look. Football is back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if y'all know there is a game that is currently going on right now. The Hall of Fame game. Jaguars are playing the Raiders. If training camp was Christmas, ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year's. Okay? This is where we at. The season has begun. Last season is over. This season is here. Will, how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
My excitement is not quite as high as yours. I don't get hyped up over the Hall of Fame game, but I'm getting more excited knowing that it's closer. It's much closer for us here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I saw the list of how many people are going to be inactive tonight for the Hall of Fame game, and I was like, I don't know if I'm tuning in on that one.
Yeah.
But it is going to be nice. I'm going to turn on the TV. There's going to be football on the TV. That just means it's coming. That is a great feeling.
Oh yeah, you got the football, you got highlights of it, and you start watching the same thing over and over. You start listening to the stories. This person's out, this person's stepping up. I'm excited to see what's going on now. I'm excited to see what the storylines become. Mm-hmm. You know, what's the new big thing? What happens coming out of this? It's going to be interesting to see, but I'm glad it's back. As we did last year, I definitely informed Catherine. Next 6 months, I'm going to be MIA, baby.
Yeah. So here's how, in my household, we very much operate by a calendar. And so I haven't put the preseason stuff on yet. I need to. I realize that. But we put on our shared calendar, I put every Commanders game.
Yep.
So she knows the time. And just an hour ago, she said, hey, got the notice that tomorrow we're going to find out where we take our fall pictures. And she knows, don't pick a Sunday. Let's go Saturday. Because there was a time we went on a Sunday and we went at 4:00 and we were running late with the 49ers and it was a close game. And I was smiling, but I was also just like,
right.
checking for scores and stuff. I was distracted.
Yes. That's this time of the year. I'm so excited that it's back. And it kind of works weird in our house because obviously the closer towards August and September it gets, the closer that Catherine starts to think about
time to go back to work.
Right.
There's no more laying out by the pool on vacation.
Thank you. Right. No vacations all week. No calling me. Hey, how you doing?
No happy hour starting at noon.
Right. But she goes back. But for us, football is back, and I love it. And it's funny because it's like she gets. Her mood starts going here, and my mood starts going up. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what you are here for. This is Washington Football Weekly, and we are so excited to be with you, so excited to talk football. We're happy you're here. Alex, Nick, anybody else, definitely share. Let people know. What we always do in the beginning, got to shout out our birthdays. I got a special birthday in my family. My grandma turns years old. But she's doing it. She's moving and grooving. And since my mom moved down there, my mom's like 20 minutes away from her. So my mom and her hang out and see each other all the time. Definitely keep her in your prayers. My aunt Merlois passed away a couple days ago, and that was she was my grandma's sister, but she was also like her babysitter. She was the oldest one. Now she had Alzheimer's and she had stuff going on, so she was in a home. We knew the time was coming, but it's still when you hear it, it's just like yeah. And so she's my grandma's taking it hard. So we want to wish her happy birthday because I absolutely I love you, Grandma. You are my heart, and thank you for everything, every sweet potato pie, every hot link, all the good stuff. I appreciate you. Yeah. But Will, there's another birthday more closer to the Washington community.
There is one of our former co-workers at the YMCA. Former Redskin linebacker Raven Caldwell is celebrating his birthday today. And we used to work with him. He was the fitness director at the Y when we were there. I still remember one of my favorite memories was we went to the playoffs that year with Mark Brunell. Mm-hmm. And Raven walked around the Y with his button. He's got a button from the 87 Super Bowl champ, and it was the 87 team. And in between every single game, we were having, I think it was soccer at the time or basketball. I can't remember. It was youth sports. In between the games, I would go up and play Hail to the Redskins over the loudspeaker at the Y. And he was working there, and he came out, and he was like, what is this? We were all wearing our jerseys for that game. We were all kind of hyped up as referees. It was fun. It was good working with him. He shared some stories every once in a while. It was always fun to hear those stories.
Oh, yeah. I talked to him one time because he lived in my parents' neighborhood. I talked to you about that before. And he lived literally you come out of our street right on Shallow Ford. He lived right over there. And Raven Caldwell, I would talk to him when I was in there. Finally, I kind of got up the nerve because, for a while it's like player. And, I'm like, so I went up and talked to him and I got down to the question. I was like, which one was better? Because he was on the 87 and the 91 team. And he said the 87 was sweeter because we fought. He said we fought all the way through. He said 91 we knew. 99, he said coming in, we had the team. We were unstoppable. We knew we were going to do. But the 87, it was so much turmoil. Who is it going to be? Jay? Is it going to be Doug? What running back is going to be? Rodgers, was in and out, but he had injuries. Kelvin Bryant was great that year. He's one of the forgotten pieces of the 87 team, but he just said they came together and it was just historic. So I thought that was always so cool hearing that. I never wanted to see the ring or anything like that, but just hearing kind of the talk of it, because you know who I love. So I was like, how's Doug? Can I meet Doug? So
that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, buddy. So we are here. Delilah's here. What's up, Delilah? She said Hall of Fame game delayed due to thunderstorm.
All right. So we're not missing anything then.
All right.
We're not missing, what's his name? Jake Luton or whoever is that quarterback for the I've never heard of this guy before.
Where did I think he played either Oregon State or Washington, one of the Pac-12 teams.
Okay.
I think I remember hearing his name. And he says, "Hail to the Commanders." That doesn't have the same ring to it. Well,
he's right.
You're right.
He's right. That's all we got.
You're right.
And I'll say it's better than hail to the football team.
Yeah, talk to him. But look, we got to go ahead and move on. Ladies and gentlemen, you are here on Washington Football Weekly. And Will, there has been a lot obviously going on, but more importantly, last week started training camp. Yeah, buddy. Training camp is back. Week 1 is in the books. And honestly, Will, I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. But after the initial excitement goes away, now let's get down to football. Now let's critique the team. And there's a lot of things, that are kind of that we've seen. And I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. What are some of your thoughts? We talked about our initial thoughts a week ago. We got 1 week under our belts. Where are you at with how things are going?
Yeah. So from what we're hearing, it kind of sounds like the defense is a little bit ahead of the offense right now, which might surprise us a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. It seems like it's a couple of days. It's been real bad.
Right.
Thinking that how our defense was going to struggle, that was a little bit surprising. But it was also a good chance to hear from some of the reporters talking about how there aren't pads on. The offense isn't scheming. They're trying stuff. So temper your expectations, temper the concerns, but it's good to hear that, it's a year 2 of some of these guys, William Jackson with Kendall Fuller, so it's good to hear that maybe he's doing better. Hearing some good things about a couple players. Not surprisingly, our defensive line is doing really well.
Yes. Yeah.
You would think that, but love hearing that Montez Sweat's really firing off the ball. We need a big year from him, so I like to hear that. The other one is how Deron Payne looks like a man on a mission.
Oh, yeah.
And he might be a man on a mission trying to get paid. So we talked about, hey, what was he going to be like this year? Was he going to be a disgruntled, I'm just going to do what I need to do to get through the next season? Mm-hmm. Or was he going to take it serious? And it looks like it's going to take it serious to the point where what I was really surprised to hear is they mentioned how the team has not stopped talking about extending him. They're just trying to figure out, do we have the cap to do it? Not necessarily that's going to happen now, but like we think he's out of the picture for next year. And that may not be the case. And so he's playing well, which is good to hear. Who have you heard about?
Well, but I'll tell you in a minute, but going back on that, with that Deron Payne thing, one of the things that I was listening to is that, we can always tag him, and make sure we keep it. And I wonder if they're seeing if this progresses, if he continues to dominate, and how that translates into the season, while always having the safety blanket of Fedarian Mathis behind him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, Fedarian Mathis obviously is not at that level with experience-wise, but at the same time, he's been showing signs, same pedigree of Alabama. You know what I mean? So, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. One of the other people you talked about, I mentioned one of the things I was looking forward to this training camp was to see the secondary, and they have not disappointed. Wow. You know what I mean? They have showed out. You mentioned Kendall Fuller. Kendall Fuller has four interceptions in that first week.
I think so.
Would have had 5, but my guy De'Ami Brown had to snatch that ball out the sky, baby.
I knew you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, buddy. But so, I mean, honestly, that secondary is looking good. One of the other guys we talked about a lot, William Jackson. William Jackson has been known for, his cover, his man-to-man, but in that zone, it wasn't working for him. And a lot of the things that I think that, it's easy if, on Madden, you can do, I can cover him, or, if you're covering normally, but when you're going into that zone, you have to train your eyes. If you've been focusing on, I'm just covering one-on-one, I'm just covering this guy, you have to train your eyes to believe, okay, now this guy's coming out, I'm sticking here. So I got to wait for the next guy to come into that spot. And in year 2 of this system, I'm hoping, and we're seeing a little bit of progress from him, and I'm excited to see that. But yeah, honestly, that secondary has been showing me stuff. That defense, obviously, they've been doing stuff. But I don't know if I could say full defense. I could say D-line.
Yeah.
As Kat goes through the background. Shout out to my baby girl. And then I could say secondary, because those linebackers are still kind of.
We're pretty thin. Although, did you hear about your boy? I was holding off to give you the chance.
Come on.
He's getting a shout out. They say
it's always better when you say it.
Everywhere. Yeah, look, they say, as we know, he's a tackling machine.
Yep.
And they just say he's flying around everywhere. So we're worried about the linebackers, and he's taken over as the play caller of the defense. And so it's a big training camp for him to see, can he do this? Can they go into that 5-2 more often, or do they have to play, more? Can they play more DB? So I heard that on the pod that we both shared, and I was like, I hope you were distracted at that time.
I was like, oh, yes, I know it. But you know what? And speaking of that, at the linebacker position, another thing they talked about in the podcast was Jamin Davis. Mm-hmm. What is year 2 going to be like for him? And I think a lot of that is predicated on Cole Holcomb. If Cole Holcomb is the guy and it can work in this system, then I think Jamin Davis will then be able to go in here, work with him, and be more free to roam around as Cole Holcomb takes the lead position in that.
Yes.
But I really want to see this. I mean, shout out to the guest we have on who called it, saying we're going to pick Jamin Davis. We did. Unfortunately, this year didn't pan out the way we wanted it to. Year 2 in the system, you're familiar now. We talked about him making moves and looking a lot better. I'm excited to see it. And I'm interested to see what he comes to the table with.
Absolutely. I think preseason game number 2 or 3 are going to be real important to see him in the beginning. How
Yeah.
is he playing? Is he playing instinctually?
Yep.
Or is he playing hesitant? Is he
Yeah.
seeing plays develop and he can, make a play basically. So it'll be big. It'll be big. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go into it. We've kind of talked about some of them, but let's talk about this right now, the positives. Some of the things that you've seen that you like. And we don't have to just stick on the defense because obviously the defense is full of positive.
Mm-hmm.
Let's touch on some of that offensive work, offensive stuff as well.
Right. Good segue. Yeah, you know who's starting off camp hot? It's the guy we said to keep your eyes on. That tight end out of Nevada.
Cole. Yep.
Yeah, they're talking about him being a big red zone threat and really, looking the part as a pass catcher. They have said that all the tight ends had needed a little bit of work on blocking, but he seems to be, and he's working on that hard. But from a pass catching offensive weapon, he certainly seems to be making some plays. Also, to steal your lines, shout out to Ab last week. I heard some things about his guy Armani Rogers.
Yeah,
saying that he's really progressing this week, really showing his athleticism out there and really making some plays. So good call by him. Ab picked him to make the roster, and he's looking to early on doing well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And sticking in that tight end group, you have Curtis Hodges. You know what I mean? He's another one who's been working with the twos, and they were talking about he caught a ball in the back in the end zone thrown by Heineke where he had to extend, and he was up there, but he had the size, he had the presence, and we've talked about that. We talked about that last year, needing that red zone target. With the absence of Logan Thomas, we need somebody that can be able to go up in there and do it. Cole Turner, he's another one that has been doing that in the red zone. So that tight end group is something that's really been impressing me. Yeah. You mentioned Cole. You were the first person to mention that to me. So I'm really excited to see kind of how they progress and how they live. Because what I've heard is while, Hodges and Turner are good, there's still rookie moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Turner can't kind of get his head around quick enough, and I've heard that Turner is not the blocker that John Bates is.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And so that is a huge thing, because then is he just going to be the guy you put in the slot and run up the field? But then as soon as he comes in, okay, this is what they're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Like when early Jordan Reed packages where you knew he was just out there as a receiver. And then Logan Paulson would run out here and be like, oh, they're running to the right. Logan Paulson's at the end of the line. Oh, you should drove me nuts sitting at FedEx like, I can predict this.
Right.
This is not good.
I know it's happening.
Right. I shouldn't from the stands. Yeah. You know who the other guy, and I almost feel like we're forgetting about him because we kind of expected it, and we're forgetting about him just like we did Terry, is our rookie wide receiver is balling out.
Yep.
And it's almost to the point now where we're all just like, yeah, we've heard so much good things about him that we're just like, oh yeah, Dotson's looking good. Yep, he's open again. Yep, he's quick. It's like that's really exciting because we need more weapons on offense, and the fact that he is playing so well early on in camp, and just like Terry seems to have that maturity in his game along with kind of in his life. It's really exciting, and I don't think we hype him up enough.
No, and you're absolutely right. And a lot of what they've been saying is like he's had one wow catch every single practice. Like he's one that makes you be like, this guy is for real. So I am so glad that he's continued it from OTAs to training camp, and it's just back to business. I don't need to talk about it. We know he has the best hands at coming out of the draft, and his work, his size was something we were worried about, but they've said that he's caught passes in the corners of the end zone and behind defenders and things like that. He knows he's a ball hawk. He knows where he had to get the ball and do what needs to be done. So I'm excited because that's continued. And that's something that's, it's one thing in OTAs when, you're pitch and catch. But as you start getting into the defense and getting into guard, actual full zones and coverages and this and that, it's interesting to see that he's continuing to do what we want him to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm hyped about that. but we do have to be honest. We are very honest, and we do need to talk about the negatives. And our boy Carson. I mean, look, there's moments. I think Friday he started off 6 of 6. Hitting, boom, 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 just fitting in tight windows, off his back foot, 40 yards, getting it, doing what he needed to do. And then it's just like, some of these are just like, what? This is what we didn't want. This is what we were hesitant about. So I'm eager to see if he can kind of get it together. Honestly, like you mentioned earlier, the offense it's pretty vanilla. We're not really showing anything. We're not game planning for anything. So the defense really kind of has the upper hand. But my worry is that we know he has that highlight, top 10 pick potential. We know he has that ability. But I'm worried about if the trust and the confidence in himself has just so deteriorated. Not on just this moment, not on just this, but the fact that sometimes it's really nice and sometimes it's like
what are you doing out here?
Right. Yeah. So talk to me. I mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because he had a practice this week where he threw like 3 or 4 picks in a row. And there's like, what's going on out here? And some of his throws he's starting to get a little inaccurate. And what's a little bit concerning is he said at the beginning of training camp, I practice like it's a game. So it'd be one thing if he's like Ryan Fitzpatrick was like, yeah, it's practice. I'm going to try and fit the ball in there, so at least you can kind of like, okay. Well, he's doing what he won't do in the game. But if Carson's going to say he's practicing like he would in a game and he's throwing erratic passes or throwing it to the wrong team, that's a little bit of a problem. Now, I will say this. I think the big part is the fact you said it. It's a vanilla offense. Yeah. They're not scheming for, right now, if you wanted to score on us, you would attack our linebackers all day. It reminded me of that game against Philly where that's all they did was they just, they'd run play action, they'd run it, play action, and then they'd throw it, 5 to 10 yards downfield, right over the middle, where our poor linebackers couldn't cover their running backs and their tight ends. Yeah. And, and that's how you'd attack us right now. So if they wanted to kind of, get some momentum rolling for him, they could, and they're not. But you don't like hearing these reports. This is your quarterback. This is he's in a new system. You want to have feel-good stories about the quarterback, and we're not getting it so far, but I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet. I don't know how you're feeling. I'm like out of a 10 alarm scale. I'm at like a 3 still right now. I'm not worried yet.
Yeah. And again, I know what I was saying earlier. I'm not off the wagon or anything like that. My opinion is I just think he's there's certain things that you see from the past that you're just like, I just want to see anything but that. I want to see anything but you going throwing wild passes, or you're doing these type of things that I feel like just are bad habits. I liked when we first came in and he was saying, "Oh, I'm talking, walking with Scott Turner. Okay, why do you want me to go here? Learning, the involvement of the offense and which moves he needed to make, and I love that. But it's seeming like once that pressure comes, it's like here we go again. So but as we know, he's still so much better than Heineke. He has the ability that Heineke does not have. He can fit it in windows. He can, like I said, throw off his back foot 40 yards and be on a dime. He can do those things, but like you said, he does have the propensity of doing 4 interceptions in a row, and you're just like, what? You know what I mean? And his back is like, no, you know what I mean? So that is something that's kind of got to me. What are some things outside of Carson that maybe are some negatives?
Yeah, so there's been a little bit of concern about an offensive line, which is a little concerning. I know we're going to hit injuries here in a little bit, but one of our starting guards, Trey Turner, has been out the last couple of days, and they've been kind of rotating guys in. So that's not real good to hear that we got 2 new guards and they're not really gelling just right now. However, we got to remember, they're not wearing pads. Yeah, I'm sure if you try and block, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne without pads, where you're not really able to do a whole lot. I mean, I can understand why they may be struggling a little bit out there. But again, that's the offensive line is key for us this year, and they made important decisions on letting some folks go and bringing in new folks and kind of getting a little bit more athletic versus as bulky as they were. So we want to make sure that's working right for us.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to see some folks that we let go, Mr. Brandon Scher, I don't believe he's playing tonight. I think
he's inactive.
Yeah, he's inactive, so he will not be on it. So you're looking to see him, he won't be there. But a lot of people, Trevor Lawrence, ETN, a lot of those guys aren't playing tonight either. So, no. So, one of the things that kind of that's really been kind of getting to me is just some of the inconsistencies, and we do have to put in the fact that the line, there's been just a heavy turnover. Guys coming in now. I love Chase Roulier. Roulier is back, but not really fully back into things. He's kind of working back into the system. But like you said, with Turner being out, the defense, it's the same guys coming up there with the exception of maybe Chase. But they still, my guy out of Michigan State, Mr. Jacob Panizak. Yeah, come on. Go ahead, tell the story, Will. Tell what you told me, baby.
Yeah. They were talking about how he was making the pass rush presence there for a little bit.
Let's go.
This unknown kid from Michigan State.
Let's go.
But did you also hear him say, well, he's probably going to be like a practice squad guy to watch?
Hey,
there's a lot of time, though. A lot of time to make a name.
Just keep him on the team. We're good to go. We're good to go. But yeah, no. So, I mean, with that, we want to see your guys kind of get back together. But again, this is the first week. We're just getting into everything. Things start to change when padded practice comes about. Will, talk to me about, how the new feel now with the padded practice.
It did. Well, we were just talking about offensive line, and putting pads on made a difference. That's what they were talking about. When they were able to use their hands and kind of punch some of those guys and hit them a little bit, they were able to slow down some of that pass rush for our offensive line. So they said there was a big improvement there when pads came on. So that was good to hear. From the beginning of the week to the middle of the week now, there's been a big difference in how our offensive line's doing. So that was nice. The other positive that came from the padded practice was our boy Fedarian Mathis. They were talking about how he's so big, you got a chance to see something he can do where basically that center's not moving him. Yeah. Where he's not, they're not expecting him to rush the passer, but it was like, you're not moving this guy. Yeah. You better run around him now. And you can't see that until you put pads on. And that's kind of what they were talking about. They're like, oh, you really get a chance to see what they saw in his ability. Because coming out of Alabama, people were like, well, you drafted him high. He's not a pass rush specialist. This is what they were looking for. That run stuffer, that guy that's going to open up the linebackers and sweat to rush. So that was good. So those are two positives. Oh, yeah. The negative was all these DBs that have been, just eaten out there. Now they had to get a little more physical. And they were getting a little handsy out there. Right. And our wide receivers were having a little bit of some fun with it, getting a chance to get open, when they're not just running in shorts and running stride for stride with them. So that was kind of interesting. It just seemed like the offense had a chance to catch up a little bit, basically. It's kind of just to sum it up.
And it was funny because you heard stories one day where they were all the receivers were catching balls, catching TDs, and Terry McLaurin was like, "We all eating today." You know what I mean? It's like, let's go. You love that back and forth between the offense and the defense. So padded practice. I mean, this is that time when it starts to get physical. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I absolutely love it. I remember it from high school, and whenever I played, it's the time when really the rubber meets the road. Like it's like, okay, here we go. So I love that. I love what I'm seeing. It just makes us know football is here. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely here. So, hey, that's perfect. And look, that's been training camp, honestly, for the first week, and kind of getting into this week. We're going to be following that as we move along this off season. But we got a lot more stuff for you, man. So stay tuned. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is. Yeah, buddy. Moving on to the next segment. The one thing we hate to talk about, but it's always been a big issue for us. So we're definitely going to address it. Injury news on the team. As we talked about the PUP list a week ago, there was the 4 names on there: Chase Young, Logan Thomas, Roulier, and Larson. Roulier is off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the other 3, what about Larson? I
think still on it. I think they're all 3 are still on it.
Yeah, the other 3 I believe are still there. So, but there was some news about Chase Young. Will, tell people what happened?
Yeah, it wasn't good news, but it was a little bit more of getting some information. And basically, Ron came out and said Chase is going to start this season on the PUP list. He's out for week 1. That means he's out for the first 4 games, and he's going to be out beyond that. It was kind of the speculation. There was some videos coming out over the offseason. Chase worked out with Von Miller. He's running around, but you really couldn't see what was he doing. He was doing exercises and running on the knee, but was he doing the stuff he needs to do? And basically Ron said, they're going to ease him back, and it's going to be, some time. And we still don't know how long, but as we said last week, we really need to be prepared for the fact that he could miss the half the season, as he comes back from this injury, which it sucks. Yeah. But at least we got some clarity of what we had speculated.
Right. We're ahead of the game. We kind of know what's going on. I like that. Okay. Well, yeah. And best wishes to him, but at the same time, get back. Let's get you healthy. I'm not trying to rush you back. That's why we have this. And the other 3 members of the defense, if you look at Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, 2 of which we already know have been shining in training camp. And then Jonathan Allen, he's a consummate professional, so we know how he's going to do. Along with that, though, some names that are familiar faces on the daggone list, and I hate seeing this. Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson. This is the one thing I did. We wanted to see what Curtis Samuel was going to do from last year, being out all year. We finally got him back. We're ready. First day of training camp. He's not on the injured list, but now he is. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about Curtis Samuel, man.
It's not good. It's confusing. Ron was getting really defensive this week when talking about it. Yeah. When reporters were kind of pressing him, but he basically said that Curtis needs to get back into shape, and he's feeling some hamstring and lower back tightness and stiffness, from basically not being ready, which is concerned. And so he missed a couple practices. Now he did come back today. I think it might have been today or yesterday, one of the days. I think it might've been today. Okay. So that was good. And he actually may have come back yesterday a little bit too. So it was good to see. And, Ron just basically said he's going to practice for a couple of days, then take a couple of days off and practice. And he said, the goal is week 1. He's like, the goal is not now, which it's just, this is kind of some of the same crap that we heard last year, where Ron tried to downplay it, but in actuality, there was a lot more going on.
Yeah. And that's just frustrating, because a lot of what we're expecting is to have McLaurin and Samuel so that you can have, Jahan Dotson in the slot and kind of him coming under the middle, or him kind of there's a lot of stuff we really want to do with Curtis Samuel, and it's a lot of our system. I think it's dependent on that. But another person on this list that towards the end of last year had a lot of injury issues, and we come in. I feel like this is kind of the same situation as last year and the beginning of last year. And training camp, we had the toe, we had the issues. So Antonio Gibson, should we be worried about this? Should we be concerned, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think he was a surprise. I don't think we need to be concerned because he is back, but apparently he started training camp. They didn't put him on the PUP list, but he didn't participate the first couple of days of training camp. And they're like, oh, well, it comes back from mini camp in June. And it's like, wait a minute, you had something in June and you've had 6 weeks off and you're still not ready to go. Now they did say, hey, if it was regular season, he probably would go, but they just didn't feel the need to. So he's back. I saw him running routes. He participated in the full pads, and he actually shined in pass pro, which was good to see. So I think that one's not as concerning. kind of going back to the Curtis Samuel thing, they were talking about how important he is to this offense. There was a time, so it was yesterday that he came back, where they were just moving all the receivers around. And between him, McLaurin, and Dotson, you really it's one of these like pick your poison. And for the defense, like who are we going to man coverage on this? Who are we going to leave in single coverage? And they were talking about a play with Curtis Samuel in there where McLaurin went to the slot and Samuel went outside. And what they were able to do is they ran a combo route where Dotson went shallow, McLaurin went on a post, and they said both of them were wide open. And it was because the defenses kind of started rolling their coverage towards Curtis Samuel because they were worried about his speed. Yeah. And whereas, like, if you have no offense, De'Ami Brown out there, or if you have a Cam Sims, the defense is going to pack the inside and focus on the two inside guys and not be so worried. So it just shows where all three of those guys, how important they can be to be healthy, because it provides not just a chance to catch balls, but you open up options for other receivers. Exactly. And they talked about how two of the guys were open. Carson took the easy throw, but they're like, he could have held it longer and probably hit Terry for the big play over the middle. Yeah. So it just kind of shows how important it is that Curtis Samuel, we get to see him finally. We need to see it, to truly see what this offense can do.
Yeah. And I get the injuries and everything, but we got to get you on the field. And this is it. Put up or shut up. This is the time. But it's like you said, he is such a big piece, and a lot of that motion, a lot of them coming in the backfield. Once he moves, that defense starts following him, and now that's the decoy for the other routes and things we got going on. So
right.
That's definitely something that I want to keep my eye on, because, like you said, we need him in the lineup. He's the very valuable piece. But our guy out of Boise State, John Bates, getting hurt. What? Come on, Will. Tell me it's not so, man. What's
like compared? Like Chase Young obviously is a major concern. This is a concern as well, though. Yeah. Because if Logan's out, John Bates is our starting tight end. Yeah. And just like you said, all those other guys are athletic behind him, but they're not blockers. They need to learn. And that's a little concerning. This kind of came out of nowhere. So let's just hope it's, I think they said it was his leg. So let's just hope this is just something a little nagging, a little bit of, he ramped up the workouts, what they're doing. And it's just stiffness, soreness, that type of thing. Because he's actually a crucial player to start our season.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he definitely shined in Logan Thomas's absence a year ago. And, seeing how valuable he is on the line. And that was something that really struck me. Like I said, like that they said Cole Turner is not the blocker that Bates is. Mm-hmm. And, we, for a while in the beginning of last year, he's a blocker. He's not going to separate. Bates showed up in the pass game and he was very, very helpful. And that's something that we're going to need. And he has that year of experience under his belt.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Let's hope he gets back and healthy. But I mean, that among other things, it's you never like to hear it. Is there anybody else that you've heard about?
I think that's everything I got, unless you got somebody.
No, I hadn't heard about anybody else outside of these four. It always stinks to hear, and the fact that two major ones are on offense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Gibson, I think with McKissick coming back and Brian Robinson, somebody that has been kind of showing. It's been interesting because they said he's not as big and bulky, but he's long. He's very long, so he'll still be the guy to go inside the tackles. But we said it. Shout out to Ab a week ago. He said it. We all feel like him and Gibson and Robinson are going to split time in that backfield. So, I'm interested to see what he can do. But you never want to hear about injuries.
Right.
You know how that goes.
Right.
So we shall see, man. We'll see how this thing plays out. But I got to move on from that, man. I got Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Stick with us. We are not done yet. We have a guest that's coming on. But before we bring him in, we got to shout out one of the last great and true Redskins that came home and signed a one-day contract so he could retire a part of this organization. Ryan Kerrigan retires a Redskin. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said Redskin because he's the last true one, the great one, our all-time sack leader. And you know what? I got to say this, Will. When we drafted him first, I didn't know, really who he was. He is kind of the epitome of what you want. Almost 100 sacks. Always a leader in the locker room, vocal, good guy. They were talking about he just did a golf tournament, recently to raise funds and things like this is, just a good upstanding guy and somebody that you really need in the locker room. I'm so glad he came back here. I hated to see him go. I talked to you guys about that last year. I was like, look, we can pay this man some money to keep him here, even if he's just going to sit on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Because, look, Phillies, he was with Philly. Philly's pass rush wasn't great last year, but he didn't get much time. So, you know what I mean? So what are your thoughts? What are your memories, man? Ryan Kerrigan, my guy. What you got, man?
You know what? For as much as we criticize this organization, they finally did something right here. And that's what makes me feel good. Yeah. As much as they botched the Sean Taylor stuff and everything else when it comes to former players or whatever, they did this good. They brought him back. They let him, retire in the burgundy and gold. He's sticking around practice, doing some coaching, learning does he want to be into coaching. They're saying let him stick around. Like that's, you're letting one of your all-time greats be around the facility. Yeah. And I think that, they've talked about how important that should be, as stupid as it is that we have homecoming weekends, it's all about getting the alumni of the players back. And you've got one now, working with these guys. And they also talked about, could he be some type of calming influence on some of our young defensive linemen that they didn't have last year? So I love it. From looking at, like you said, he was, I think, the second number one pick that Shanahan had, and I think Trent Williams was the first, and then the next year we got Ryan Kerrigan, and I knew nothing about him coming out of Purdue. I can't say I did, but he was, like you said, he was the perfect, especially we got him in the mid-teens, perfect first-round pick where he's going to be one of those he was a good to very good player for us. He's going to be in the Ring of Fame. Like you said, he's our all-time leader in sacks. But also with it, he had reliability and he was steady all the time. He didn't have his ups and downs. He didn't have the Preston Smith where he has no sacks for 6 games and then 4, and then no sacks for 6 games and then 3, and he ends the season. You're like, oh, it was a good year stat-wise. He was just always steady out there. So he was a very good player for us. He wasn't great. Yeah. But he was sound and he was reliable, and so he was good. And I started looking on eBay for jerseys. Not gonna lie.
Yes, you have to. Yes, you absolutely have to. Oh, this was the guy. He was somebody that you always. I remember when it was him and we had Rakpo, and I was like, oh my, like we should be dominating the league. Like these guys are amazing. So, he's a great part of the team, and absolutely my favorite part was after he got a sack. Everybody knows his sack celebration. With the leg out there. For those of you who don't know, I know my WWE fans know, that's the Shawn Michaels, the HBK. And I love how he paid homage to him, man, and seeing it so many times because he was the one that did it. He was getting the sacks, so he was always in these last 10, 15 years where it's kind of been dim. You had the 2012, you had maybe a year or two with Kirk Cousins, but it's been rough. He has always been a bright spot. Mm-hmm. He's always been somebody that you can look to. And you're absolutely right that, maybe that was the difference in that 2020 year that he was in the locker room. Right. And, and he kind of kept everybody level. And last year was a little bit different where even in off season, people were starting to talk and chirp and da-da-da-da. And maybe that stuff doesn't happen if you have that leader in the locker room saying, hey, relax. So I love that. But, look, guys, shout out to the people saying, hey, guys, shout out to my guy Colin saying Ryan Kerrigan is always a stalwart of the defense. No matter how bad the team was, he was always getting sacks. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, look, we're not the only ones that are going to talk about this. We told you we have a special guest, and we got to bring him in. But this guy's been on the show a number of times, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I can't even talk about how many times he's been on, but he's called 2 years in a row the pick. 2 years ago, he said we're going to get Jamie Davis. This year, he said we're going to trade back, get more picks. It's happened. Our guy. These are the blue bloods here, ladies and gentlemen. These people have loved this team like myself for far too long, and we don't see any end in sight.
The draft coming up in a couple weeks.
Honestly, I hope they trade back, but probably need to draft another safety. As much as I want to see my main man Troy Apke play, probably not.
Let's go, baby. He's the corner now, buddy.
Sorry.
Because he's fast.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, buddy, my guy.
What an intro.
Wow. I had no idea there was so much footage. Yes. Good job,
There's
Sean.
There's more.
Oh, baby.
What's up, Jack?
Oh, it's good to talk to you guys. I need some cheering up after this Nats week, guys. I'm glad you got me on here.
Yeah. I know, it's rough. It's rough.
I feel for you, buddy.
He was real depressed on Tuesday when we weren't able to record early. He was like, "Will, I'm not having a good day. This is not good."
Not a good day.
I'm sorry, brother.
It's all good. It's all good. I know you're on one of your 12 different podcasts, man. It's all good.
Yes. Every day. That's right. Let's go.
Twice a day. Every day.
You heard what we were talking about. Ryan Kerrigan retires a Redskin. One of the last great true Redskins that we had, even though his last year was a Commander. What are your thoughts, man? What are your memories? How you feeling about Marquette?
Oh, just a class act. Winning off the field, on the field. He's just another homegrown Washington star that we need more of. Makes me think of guys like Ryan Zimmerman, guys like that are, good examples in the locker room. Great off the field. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great that he came back to retire a Redskin, like you said. So we'll see. We'll see. Luckily, he didn't really do a whole lot for Philly last year, but yeah, I don't know. We gotta draft another guy to replace him at some point, but
right.
Chase Young's not coming back to week 4 now. I didn't know that, Will. That's new to me. So
yeah. At least
it's not later, right?
Yeah. No, it was good. It was so good to see him come back, and like you said, Sean, when he said he was always happy among all the crap he had to deal with in his 10 years in DC. He always had a smile on his face. He always had a positive attitude, and he had it the other day. He talked about how touched he was. He walked into the building, and when I said they finally got things right, this was one of the things they did. He walked into the building with his family, and he's like, I came in here just thinking I'm going to sign a contract. We're going to take a couple pictures, and then I go about my way and I get forgotten. And all of his defensive linemen were there when he walked in, and his coaches, and they all were clapping and high five. And he got a reception for coming in. They recognized what he meant to this team. And unfortunately, this new regime hasn't quite understood that, and this was a huge moment for them to recognize this, while we were here, he was on the downside of his career, but this guy had made a lot to this organization when we were the Redskins, and we need to honor that with it. And so they did a good job. They rolled out the red carpet for him, which was awesome. And he seemed really touched by it.
Oh yeah. I love that. Absolutely love that. Well, look, we already know we brought you on here because it's training camp. Training camp has started a week ago. We've been talking about it. What are your initial thoughts? What have you seen? What are some things you're excited about?
I'm trying to get as hyped up as I can, just like Will. It's time to get – I think we're going to win the Super Bowl, guys.
He's the one.
I think this is the year. I think this is all –
You sound like Ab last week.
I've seen everything I need to see. This is it. This is finally it. It's all going to mesh. Oh, yeah. This is it. You guys have I've been listening most of the time here. You guys have covered a lot of what's going on in training camp and my concerns. Overall, seems good. Guys are going to make mistakes. I am worried about the injuries. That's for sure. I'm not really worried about the Wentz picks. He'll do plenty of that during the regular season anyway. So, but other than the injuries, like you said, Bates, soft tissue injuries to Samuel, Gibson, stuff like that, you don't like to see. I hope it doesn't linger into the regular season, but Yeah, depth at linebacker. What was his name? I think it was like Drew White or something like that. Another walk-on or undrafted linebacker out for the season. So I don't know what they're going to do with that position. Maybe they're going to wait till some guys get cut during training camps. I don't know. But I think Landon Collins is still available, right?
yeah. He is. He's still out there if you need him.
Yeah. So we'll see. I've been taking a look at like the the presumed depth charts, and looks all right. Like I think with this type of schedule, we can definitely do some damage. But get lucky, make the playoffs. You never know.
Yeah,
that's the thing I love about football. There's a lot of ups and downs on teams you think are going to be good and teams you think are going to be bad. So you don't know.
Right. So you said that you're concerned about the linebacking depth. That makes a lot of sense. We kind of hit on that last week, where like you said, beyond Davis and Holcomb, like who are the rest of the guys? Is there anyone on the team, offense or defense, that you're looking to see in training camp is like to step up, or like you want to see, hey, how's this guy progress?
Yeah, of course. The obvious guys like Samuel, you want to know if he's actually going to play more than 13 games this year. Like you're going to, look at, guys like Wentz, of course, and how they're going to gel with the receivers. But I think we're looking good at that position. I want to see stuff out of the second-year guys like De'Ami Brown. See if Gibson's actually going to be able to hold up. Then you got Robinson backing him up this year. So I think he's going to get at least 100 carries. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm excited about a lot of these rookies they have. But like you guys been talking about, you got 2 new guards. Some injuries at center. I hope they're going to be healthy there.
Yeah.
Cosme, I want to see if he steps up this year. That'd be nice to see if we can get the right tackle shirt up for a while.
Sure.
Hopefully, the one thing I do like to do around this time of year, though, is to get ready for fantasy and start looking at projected stats at the matchups. So I've been kind of looking at the stats of what the Commanders are looking at for this year with kind of combined like last year and 2020 as an underlier. So it's coming out all right. Like I think, again, it's like middle of the pack kind of stats, 27, 28 passing TDs for Wentz.
Okay.
Maybe between 2 and 3 rushing with 200 yards total.
Okay.
50 carries, but looking at Gibson having close to 230, depending if he can stay healthy, close to 1,000 yards, probably nine overall TDs.
So stop right there.
Yeah.
27, 28 touchdowns from Wentz, 900 yards from Gibson. How are you feeling about that? Is that good production to you? What are your thoughts?
It's not bad. Like, it's more spread around. I'm not being fair to the other guys on the squad. So you got, Brian Robinson, who's going to get a lot of the short yardage stuff. He's probably going to get, 5 to 6 touchdowns, like something around there.
Mm-hmm.
McKissick's going to, probably have 60, 70 carries the entire year. He'll probably get a couple TDs. In addition to that, catch 60 to 70 balls. Like, so it's going to get spread around a lot. Like, I'm not too concerned about the offense this year. I think they're going to be able to put some numbers as long as Wentz can stay healthy and not turn the ball over. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, because you're hitting some of the numbers we talked about last week too, where it's like if we're getting 27 touchdown passes from our quarterback, that's a huge improvement of what we've had for years. Yeah. I'll take that. You can
get the ball downfield compared to what we've had the last couple of years. So I know they want to run a lot of 2 tight end sets, like a lot of 2 tight end streaks. So if you get Bates and Logan Thomas back, I think you're going to see some good stuff there. And they've drafted pretty well in tight end the last couple of years, so that could surprise us this year. So I'm trying to be optimistic. I think
good. Glass half full, Jack. It's the way you gotta live your life.
This is how
it's much better.
Until we get to week 1 and they lose to Jacksonville, and you're like, oh.
Washington Football Weekly might be on a weekly hiatus if we lose to Jacksonville.
We've been running a rerun this week.
Right? Yeah.
That's all we need to do. Yep.
So, Jack, we see the offense. Yeah. The offense is where we can be optimistic because there are a lot of weapons. Like, there is still only one football to go around, but there's a lot of weapons. And if Carson has the potential, it could happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But now let's go to our defense. We've heard about the secondaries looking okay. The defensive line is looking pretty good. But like you and Will, we've all talked about, we are very, very, very thin at linebacker. And even though my guy Cole Holcomb is Superman, all right, at a UNC.
It's a contract year for him, man. I think he's going to ball out this year. But
he's going to do it.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So. What do you think the defense? Like, where do you think they'll be ranked? Like, how good do you think they'll be this coming year?
Well, honestly, I think the D's always going to look better in camp than the offense. So that's one thing to kind of take with a grain of salt. But yeah, like as long as they can get Chase Young back healthy, like I really want to see like something from him this year and just dominate. But they're saying Sweat looks really good. So I don't think they're going to miss much there. But again, just depth at end, depth at linebacker, corner outside of like William Jackson. Like who else they got? They moved St. Juice to nickel. Like so, I don't know. Yeah. Starting safety, like either one. Like I don't know. I think there's a couple injuries away from the defense kind of falling apart.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll see. Again, I hope they can pick up some guys to get cut in camp. Maybe pick up a couple veterans. I was hoping they could maybe pick up Barr, but Dallas picked him up yesterday or today. I forget what it was. So we'll see. I'm concerned that's. I hope they put up a lot of points. That might be what they have to do this year.
That's kind of what we talked about last week. Yeah, it was like we get ready for 41-38. With this defense.
Hard to watch those games.
You're gonna have the highs and lows of we scored and take the lead, and then we just gave up the lead. We scored and take. Yeah.
I don't think I can take it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, I'm thinking middle of the pack wins this year. I think the NFC East is going to be surprising people in some places. We'll see. I think Philly is going to be better. I think the Giants are going to be better than people think. And then,
what makes you think that?
Just a couple good draft class the last couple of years. I think Daniel Jones just hasn't been utilized right. Mm-hmm. I forget the name of the rookie wide receiver they got this year, but he's looking good. Teamed up with Tony. So I don't know.
What do they get?
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Saying Saquon looks healthy and back. So
okay,
that's huge.
That's key for them.
Yep. So I don't know. I like this time of year. Just started to look at all the players, and I'm so used to our team being so bad for so long. I'm just always checking out the fantasy hype.
Else. Yeah. So now I will say this:
other teams,
I'm giving away my secrets here when we have our Let's Talk Football draft. I don't know if I want to touch any Washington players in fantasy though. As Sean said, I just feel like on offense, there's not enough football to go around for some of these guys. Like we're going to be happy when we score touchdowns, but fantasy players can be like, "Oh, you threw it to Cole Turner and not Terry. Come on."
I know.
Or Brian Robinson, coming in hijacking touchdowns.
I know he's going to vulture some goal line stuff for sure. And then it depends on where you can draft him, honestly, because guys, it depends on who's in your draft. I know Will Kramer is going to value Terry McLaurin a lot more than some other folks, and might draft him. And
I never draft Washington players. I can't do that. So you're full of it.
I don't know. It depends on where you can get him, man. Like Terry McLaurin drops at the end of the second round, something like that. I might snag that, but you don't know. Who knows? That might be crazy wishful thinking, but it's almost time to do those mock drafts, right?
Mm-hmm. It's at that point. I mean, come on. So, do you know if the game has been continued? I know it's been postponed right now. Does anybody know? I haven't heard any reports or anything. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, the Hall of Fame game is on right now, or maybe not, because the last thing we heard, Delilah told us that the game has been postponed because of a thunderstorm. So we will see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, football is back. I'm excited. I like I said, reset expectations. No more of last year. This is a new year. No more Fitzpatrick, because the Magic died in the first half. Yeah. All right. Now, whence we go? We're just gonna see what's gonna.
He's our guy.
You know who I do like to see?
It's Wentz
Mr.
World.
Doug Williams, man.
Wentz World. Let's go. Yep.
We need to do something with that. Wentz World. Oh,
there you go.
Will already sent it. I already saw it. I already saw the meme. It's Wentz World with the screen printed
Oh yeah.
Oh, you talk about the Annie Agar stuff today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, she's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got it already, Sean. She did it already.
She did.
She's got it.
Yeah. She's clever like that.
I stole it. Yeah, I stole it.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so this is for the two of you. If you were to buy a Commanders jersey, what player and what jersey are you getting? And I've got one other question for y'all. That's my first one.
So I even need to tell you who I'm getting? Because y'all know who I'm getting.
You got to be kidding me.
That's right.
No
Sam Howell, baby.
Oh
Sam Howell. Tar Heel Nation. Let's go.
He's getting the number 3 quarterback. That's the
Let's go.
That's rolling the dice right there,
proudly.
Man.
Kat, I will support Kat when she says, you just threw away our money.
You gotta go Terry McLaurin. Like he just signed. Like he's gonna be there for 4 years. You got to do something like that. But otherwise, like you got to get a Ryan Kerrigan jersey. You got to get it right now.
But you can't. Yeah. You can't get a Kerrigan Commanders. That's lies. If you did it, that's lies.
You can get anything off the internet.
I'm saying, but he didn't play for the Commanders. You'd be lying to yourself. Right. That's like I hate when you see the Sean.
He resigned. He resigned for a day.
He did.
So he retired as a Commander.
No.
Sell jerseys.
Sean, where was that? Nope. Your boy Sean, Jacob Panasek, is wearing number 91.
Oh, what?
So he doesn't even have his number because Sean's boy comes in and takes it.
Interesting. So he couldn't even retire with that number. Okay. All right.
You might get cut. Panasek might get cut just because
One day cut.
You're gone, buddy.
Contract. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
so I saw something this week that surprised me when they brought out the pads. Their pants had the burgundy pants on with gold and white stripes, just like we did for the Redskins. I hadn't seen those in any of the uniform mock-ups and the displays. It was just a solid burgundy, which I was wondering because I actually think that the burgundy jersey looks good. I actually like what they did with that, but I'm like just straight burgundy all the way down. But it looked like they were keeping some of the old pants. That really surprised me.
Yeah, I think they have some different color waves they're doing throughout the year. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they switched it up a couple of times this year. So we'll see. Yeah. I'm still waiting on a jersey until we'll see how the white and the black ones turn out. I saw some preliminary white ones. I did not like the way they look. So, but we'll see.
Yeah,
it looks kind of funny with
red. They look more.
They
red.
do. They do look a little red. What, like you said, what to see once with the helmet, with everything.
It's like the all white body with just like the red sleeves. Like I don't know if I really like that, and especially just purchasing that, I don't think I'd like that on me. So unless I'm
are you still in on the black jersey?
The one that I've seen is like the youth style, and it looked okay.
Mm-hmm.
It looks, again, like I think we've had this conversation before. It looks similar to the Pittsburgh jerseys a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
But but it has like the the DC logo on the side. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait till halfway through the year and see what they release. No rush on any of this stuff.
Right.
We'll see who's owning the team in about hopefully 9 months to a year, maybe after the season. Yeah. That'd be great.
I need to wait until at least the bye week to see whether they get any of my money.
Yeah. Right. They earned it. Yeah, exactly. Smart man. Yeah. But I gotta buy a new jersey.
Yeah, Ab had a Chase Young jersey. He debuted it last week. It was very impressive.
Yeah,
his kids all had Chase Young jerseys.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome. They all had it. They're flexing.
All the burgundy.
Oh
yeah.
Nice.
Commanders. It was great.
Yeah. Did the Commander stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about your boy AGG going back to school? What do you guys think about that?
We didn't even touch on that. I know.
Yeah,
it's
good
surprising.
For him, man.
It's
good for him. Yeah.
That's because you're an alumni. Okay, you're a little biased here.
Everything happens. Yes, through there. Absolutely.
It's disappointing because I was kind of interested to see him make that transition to tight end. And, to me, this is where it's like you got to be careful how hyped you get over the draft. because we were hyped by picking him. Like, Louis Riddick loved him, and they were like, this is the steal. I think Daniel Jeremiah was even like, this is a big time pick. This is going to be well.
Yep.
And he didn't translate at all.
Got hurt at the wrong times. Like, it was just, it just never really worked out. And then he probably saw what was happening in that crowded tight end room, and he's just like, this is not what I want to do, and figured it out. So all the best for him. Absolutely. Yeah.
Ain't going, which kind of stinks now, because with the injuries, now you're kind of like, shoot, you could have moved up. The team, right.
Depends on his blocking. If he could block, I didn't really keep much track of him. Like when he switched over, like he didn't last much beyond and never made it to full contact practice anyway. So
no, because he made the switch this off season. All of a sudden they're like, oh, AGG's not a tight end, and some of the reporters just kind of looked and what?
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Absolutely weird. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us. We thank our guest and friend of the show, and just our friend in real life, Mr. Jack Neidermeyer.
I needed this today, guys. You guys are the best.
We're here for you, Jack.
You guys are all right.
What you're going through.
Good luck in the household wearing that shirt.
I know. I got some looks at dinner. Yeah, it's okay. I'm a Chiefs fan. Yeah.
I feel for you, brother. I feel for you.
Yeah.
Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna let y'all go. We're gonna let you go. But one of the things that Jack mentioned earlier is, yes, I am on a boatload of podcasts, and the more I look at it, the more I'm like, there's a lot going on this season. So we are gonna start getting into it. Football is here with us. We will be back with you next week covering this stuff. Preseason games are coming up. Check out that game tonight. Check out the shows we got. My guy, Jack Neidermeyer, will be back. No doubt about it. For your boy, Sean Spencer, and Mr. South Carolina himself, Mr. Will Kramer. See y'all later, man. We'll see y'all next time.
Everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
Back.
We are back.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The line. Here. The line. New man so funny. Kirk Cousins.
All right.